What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Hot Mic here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by the gentleman right there you see on your screen, the Sneider himself. How are you, Jeff?
It is I. Forgive me. It is I. And hello, Johnny boy.
My man's all discombobulated. He just shoved down dinner. He's just look. I mean, dude, you put up your shit real quick behind you. It looks fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shout out. Look at that. Wow.
You like that? You like that?
I might say it's a better background than you had before. So shout out to you, man. That's a nice looking background.
Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Look at that. See? Look at this. Looks clean. There you go, Jeff. Take a little.
I wouldn't say the posters are all even or anything, but I did the best I could. I have my methodology. It turned out okay.
You worked around the light switch. I respect it. Sitting over there, you did your best with it, so I appreciate that. But good to see you, brother. Of course, we weren't live last week because we had scheduling issues, but we were able to do our pre-tape show. Thank you to so many of you who watched it. Numbers were pretty much almost the same. So gave me some ideas for possibly in the future, but certainly we're excited to be live with you all again. We got so much to talk about on the show. Spider-Man news in both the Sonyverse and the Marvelverse. We got some Superman news. We got some trailers to talk about. We got some filmmaker news to get into as well. And maybe as the show goes on, there'll be some things that pop up as breaking news from the sites there that we'll cover. But certainly we're going to talk about all of that. Quick reminder, we are available for Streamlabs and Superchat. Send them in to send in your support. Send them in throughout the show. We will answer them on the back half of the show, but send them in as we go along. You see the address above Jeff's head. I'm going to pin it in the chat in just a second. Of course, you can send in your Superchats as you see fit. Jeff, how are you? How's the new place? Are you settling in? Are you feeling the vibe, feeling the energy? What's the reaction there?
New place is good. Last night I discovered there's a golf simulator here.
What, in the place?
In the building, yeah. Downstairs. What? It's so funny that the there's a theater here.
What?
I live it's like a big complex. It was much cheaper than the last place.
Oh wow.
But yeah, they have like a theater and it's in the garage.
What?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Because you seemed to be out of sorts last week, and now it sounds like, okay, I figured out the amenities, I figured out the situation. I think I can make this work. Am I reading you right here in that?
I'm here to make the most of it. Of course. Yeah. I had to downsize. The apartment's definitely small.
Right.
And all the posters on the wall only make it feel smaller. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. There are just a lot of people moving in and out, right? Because it's like a kind of newish building. So when I got here, it was like 15% full. And yeah, I'm just seeing new people moving in every day. So
respect. Okay. So it's not one of these places that's been around a long time in that area of LA. This is one they built, and now they want to bring.
I mean, they put a new sheen on it. I think that's what they probably did. They probably rebranded it.
Can you walk to fast? This is the thing I like about Koreatown. You can walk to fast food places in Koreatown. Do you send? Where you're at? Can you do that?
I mean, who walks to fast food? That's like an oxymoron. You're gonna sit your fat ass in the car and drive through. I'm not walking to get fast food, but yeah, there's a lot of street meat in Koreatown, John.
There you go.
A lot of street meat, a lot of people just grilling stuff up on the sidewalk. Who knows what it is, but
I'll take that sausage and bacon, please. Put it together. Anyway, all right, well, let's get into things here, Jeff. And as I said, Streamlabs super chats are open. Send them in as we go along. But let's start with this story, Spider-Man 4. This is one that you kind of pushed back a little bit on me, including, but I thought we should talk about it, and maybe it opens the door to some interesting conversations. Tom Holland revealed during an interview on the Rich Roll podcast, I have no idea what this is, that he recently read a draft of the script for his fourth Spider-Man movie and, quote, it needs work, but the writers are doing a great job. One of the things is that with Marvel, your film is a small cog in a larger machine. That machine has got to keep running. You have to make sure you can fit into that timeline at the right time to benefit the bigger picture. That's one of the challenges we're facing. The time in which we need to get that done is a tall order, but definitely achievable with the people we have working on it now. We have a creative, we have a pitch and a draft, which is excellent. It needs work, but the writers are doing a great job. I read it 3 weeks ago, and it really lit a fire in me. Zendaya and I sat down, read it together, and we at times were bouncing around the living room like this is a real movie worthy of the fans' respect. Jeff, This is a real movie worthy of the. Were the other ones not real movies? I don't understand the comments here. What are your thoughts on what he said here?
My thoughts, to echo one of my sources who reached out when they saw the headline for our story, was basically like,
yeah,
have you seen some of the other scripts that have gotten Tom Holland excited?
No, that's what I'm saying. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, is Tom Holland's excitement about a script necessarily a good thing? I don't know that it is.
Maybe for a Spider-Man one, maybe not Cherry necessarily, but maybe
just the whole. This is a real movie. Like, yeah, I like. Is this Logan? Is that what he's getting at? That there's like a prestige element to this comic book movie?
Yeah, this is why I'm getting an arm. I can't keep knocking this over. Yeah, this is fascinating because there are obviously storylines with Spider-Man that are really brutal. Kraven's the Last Hunt. We're gonna get a Kraven movie very soon. Spider-Man Reign is essentially that the Dark Knight Returns in the Spider-Man universe. So where are we going with this, and why do we need a real? Does this make you feel like it's going to be a much more ground-based film the way he's saying real movie, or do you think he's just being complimentary overall?
I mean, I'm honestly not sure. Again, I'd heard those rumors, but then I started to hear that it was going to be just as big as the others. So
yeah,
I have no idea what the direction is there or what he means by it's going to be a real movie.
Yeah,
that's why I push back on the segment, because I'm just like, some actor read a script and he's doing. By the way, he's doing the movie no matter what the fucking script, whether it was good or bad, right? It's not like this is like a train you can like stop. And so yeah, the actor tells the president, the movie has a good script. Come on, what do you want from me?
Well, trying to fit it into the timeline is interesting too, because he's saying it's achievable, but they have a long road to go to get there. So clearly there's a feeling that this is an important installment, in the Marvel franchise and where it is right now. And so, but there's a time constraint.
Of course they're important movies. I mean, other than the Avengers movies, there's nothing bigger than Spider-Man, right?
Right. Yeah. I just find it fascinating that he's talking about the timeline. They have to get it done and it's achievable and people are working on it now. So clearly there's a large amount of. Well, how much does Tom contribute, do you think, to these scripts? I mean, him telling the writers that there's more work to be done. It seems, is he a guy who's like throwing in his 2 cents, 4 cents, 5 cents in these scripts? Do we have Tom Holland to thank for some of these scripts? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think Tom Holland has probably played the character long enough now that, yeah, he's earned the right to weigh in on whether, I think, my Peter would do this or do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. My Peter. I love that idea. All right. So anyway, Tom Holland, Zendaya apparently bouncing off the walls with excitement at what they're reading, like a couple of 20-year-olds in their one room walk up, getting real excited about what they're going to be a part of. So,
and the other thing about this Spider-Man stuff is Daniel Rickman just reported that he heard that a Silver Sable project is in development again at Sony. Wow. Like, could that be the next Morbius, Kraven, Venom, etc.?
But I mean, what if Kraven comes out and it's terrible? What if Venom 3 comes out and it's terrible? They're just going to keep pounding away, aren't they? They're just going to keep pounding away at this meat to try to do something with this stuff. They're never giving this up, are they?
No, I mean they have to. They own all these characters. They paid a lot of money for them.
Yeah.
Why not use them?
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Silver Sable was a mercenary in the Marvel Comics. On the Spider-Man side of things, she worked with the Wild Pack, part of a European syndicate there as well. And so she is kind of vacillated between villain and hero, depending on the situation in the Spider-Man universe, kind of like Black Cat, kind of like so many of these characters. But another Silver Sable approach here is super interesting, I guess. I don't know that many people know this character outside of the Spider-Man universe, so it's an interesting decision.
Wouldn't you rather do that though than like a Spider-Woman movie like after Madam Web? I feel like Spider-Woman is kind of like, didn't we just kind of do that?
Yeah, you can't do Spider-Woman after Madam Web. No, I agree with you. Unless you're going to go with a different approach to it, like the black woman who played Spider-Woman in the Spider-Verse situation. There is a black Spider-Woman in the multiverse of Spider-Man. So, but then again, they haven't opened the door to the multiverse on the Sony side of things as strongly as they have obviously on the MCU Marvel side of things. So But yeah, I mean, do you have any faith in this? Them tackling another Spider-Man character without Spider-Man in it?
No, none. I mean, well, listen, I'm willing to change my tune if Craven is great. And again, I do think it looks good. It's a hard R, but yeah, no, I don't think I'm excited about any of these Sony, Marvel movies.
Because Silver Sable essentially would just be ballerina, because that's what she is. She doesn't have any superpower. She's just a really good fighter. It'd be a Black Widow movie, I guess.
Maybe they'll hire Len Wiseman to direct it.
Maybe. I mean, all right. So do you think this is happening? Do you think Daniel's onto something here with this one?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they need to keep making Spider-Man movies outside of Tom Holland and Zendaya's movies.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else they have in the fire, right? El Muerto was one that went away, right, with Bad Bunny. So, like, they need other projects, and Silver Sable, I think, does probably make sense.
Yeah. Well, let us know what you think about. What do you all think about it? Do you like a Silver Sable idea? Does it sound terrible? Let us know in the comments. Do you want to see a Silver Sable movie? And do you want to see one from Sony, for God's sakes, considering their track record with these characters? Let us know in the comments section. Let's move on to another story here, Jeff. Let's bring this guy up here, this pretty face. Josh Brolin, they got this on Deadline, is in final negotiations to star opposite Glenn Powell in the remake of The Running Man. Edgar Wright is directing the feature and co-wrote the script with Michael Bacall. Katie O'Brien, I imagine, is playing the Maria Conchita Alonso character. She is going to be part of this project as well. It will shoot in London next year, early next year. Powell is playing the lead, the desperate man, the Arnold Schwarzenegger character that you see on the screen there. And Josh Brolin would play the ruthless producer of the game show. Is this why Josh Brolin did not take Lanterns, man? Was this the negotiation that was going on? What do you think?
This was why. I mean, I did think that this was a little like, you turned down Lanterns for the Running Man remake. Yeah, I don't know about that, but I mean, I think the Running Man will be cool, right? I mean, Edgar Wright, Glenn Powell, like, it'll be cool. I just don't understand the logic behind that decision.
It's a weird cast. Glenn Powell, Katie O'Brien, Josh Brolin, Edgar Wright directing it, so you're probably going to get a quality movie, but
Brolin as the villain makes sense to me. I think he could have, if he is
he played a game show host. Josh Brolin. What about Josh Brolin radiates game show host?
Oh, I could see it.
Really?
Yeah. If that's in fact what he is, but I think that makes sense.
I could see it if he's a game show producer, but a game show host, you have to be like affable and charming and vulnerable, and people want to watch you. And Josh is such a gruff guy. I don't know necessarily that it radiates that kind of energy as a talk show host, as a game show host, and I don't know. It's like Charles Bronson hosting a game show. Does that make sense to you? I mean, look at all the game show hosts we have now. It's all like, Jamie Foxx or Pat Sajak or formerly Alex Trebek. I don't know if I necessarily get that from, or Jeff Probst and whatever his name is on Amazing Race. I don't know if I get that energy from Josh Brolin.
I don't know if he's the producer or the host. I'm hearing the producer, so maybe he's not the actual host.
Yeah, producer makes sense, and maybe a more central part of it rather than Richard Dawson, who was the host in the original and was more of the central approach to it. So maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's probably the behind the scenes guy, like saying, "Okay, cue this, cue that."
Right. Nobody lives, for God's sakes. Yeah, something like that. Let's move on to some more superhero stuff here, Jeff. This popped up. Look at this. James Gunn posted the first look at Superman and Krypto, who will appear in the Superman movie. Clearly, this was also a moving image that they put out for people to take a look at. This was apparently inspired to Gunn's own dog, Ozu. In a touching post on social media, he said Krypto was inspired by our dog, Ozu. I wonder if that's an allusion to the Japanese filmmaker who we adopted shortly after I started writing Superman. Ozu, who came from a hoarding situation in a backyard with 60 other dogs and never knew human beings was problematic, to say the least. He immediately came in and destroyed our home, our shoes, our furniture, even ate my laptop. It took a long time before he'd even let us touch him. Gosh, how difficult he'd be with superpowers. And thus Krypto came into the script and changed the shape of the story. For those of you who don't know, Krypto originally appeared in the 1955 Adventure Comics, issue number 210. There was an animated series with the Superdog there, Krypto the Superdog on Cartoon Network, and then on the CW. And Krypto was Superman's pet puppy on Krypton before being sent into space. Before the planet was destroyed, upon landing on Earth, he is a fully grown dog who has similar abilities to Superman. Jeff, I don't know. There's a lot of characters. We keep adding characters.
Didn't we say this movie needed a little bit more? This is a little bit more.
Did we? I feel like we've got enough characters in this movie. Now we're adding a dog who may have similar powers to Superman. We're already giving him a cane. I don't know. I know everybody wants the wholesome Norman Rockwell Superman back again, but I don't know. It's cool to see Superman and Krypto, but I would like to have seen this like 3 movies down the road. What do you think of the picture? What do you think?
It sounds like he's. What do I think of the picture? It's a fucking picture of a guy and a dog. What do you want from me?
What's your reaction? That's what I want from you. Does it look good? Do you like the design?
Sure, it looks fine. Yeah.
Does it make you feel?
I don't know what the fuck you want me to say here.
It's a Rorschach test. What comes up for you? What comes up for you?
Even Superman needs a best friend, right?
Isn't that usually Lois? I don't know.
No. What?
Lois is usually his best friend.
Yeah, I think Krypto was going to always feature like heavily in the marketing materials, so it made sense to sort of let the dog out of the bag, if you will.
Are we being? I don't know. I just feel like, am I wrong to feel like this is getting a little like, let's all feel good and hug a tree? And
that is exactly what it is.
Yeah,
that is the whole thing. It is a pushback against Joker 2, against these darker superhero movies. Yeah, I think that and it's going to be like, I think the whole movie is like, it wants to be punk rock.
Yeah,
like it's punk rock to do the right thing and to be a good person these days.
Is it? That's a shame that's punk rock.
Yeah, I think it's really going to play on that.
Yeah. No, it's very much going that route. You can sense it. It's just a lot of things, a lot of characters, because it could veer into fan service by bringing Krypto. And is it really going to work? How does he feed Krypto? Does he walk Krypto? What's the deal here with Krypto?
Why are you so? Who gives a shit? He's a fucking dog who's going to show up to save the day at some point. You need to know how the dog is fed and what he eats.
You're introducing a character.
Does Krypto take that giant, huge super shits? Who gives a shit?
For God's sake, how big is that bag? I'm just saying, it could keep you from saving the earth if you got to take the dog out for a walk. I'm saying, Anyway, all right. Let's move on. What do we got here? What else have we got here? Oh, did I not put? Oh, there it is. Hey, J.J. Abrams and Dwayne Johnson apparently are getting together here, man. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is teasing a mysterious new project involving J.J. Abrams. He took to Instagram to share a photo of himself at dinner with J.J. X-Men writer Zach Penn and producer Hiram Garcia. No piss-filled bottle was seen. Years in the making, he said. We finally broke bread. We drank, we laughed, got a little drunk. Maybe that was just me. We talked life stuff, love stuff, dude stuff, and took our time chopping up our passion for movies and storytelling. Then we all raised a glass and toasted to, yep, this one is going to be fun. JJ and DJ from the mind of Zach Penn. Tonight, it comes to life. Jeff, Dwayne Johnson coming off some tough things theatrically with Black Adam. JJ hasn't done much after the sequel trilogy and the absolute debacle that was The Rise of Skywalker. So when you see these guys getting together with an X-Men writer, are we looking at a superhero film in the future, a character from Marvel or DC? I mean, he's got that first look deal with Disney, so is it a Marvel character they're working on? Is JJ working on a Marvel character, or is this something completely different? What do you think?
What kind of a fanboy are you? Come on. Is this Marvel? Are they talking about Marvel? No, they're not talking about Marvel or DC or Star Wars. Relax. Dude. They're talking about just regular fucking movies.
What are they talking about? The fuck are you talking about?
I don't know whether they're talking about JJ's next movie, right? Because I don't know why he'd be talking about any other movies besides the one he's gearing up to make.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he's simply producing it, right? Like, is it just Bad Robot is producing some script that Zach Penn did? But I didn't get that vibe.
Okay, tell me what
Right?
vibe you got.
I got the vibe that JJ is going to direct and Dwayne is going to star, and if that's the case, I mean, JJ is not really the type to like announce projects that then sit in development that he's attached to direct.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if Dwayne is taking on a role in JJ's next movie starring Glenn Powell and Jenna Ortega.
Oh, interesting. Well, the way Dwayne wrote it, it looks very clearly that he is the guy who is going to be leading whatever the hell they're working on.
So you feel like they are launching a Dwayne Johnson movie, right? It is a vehicle for him.
100%.
As opposed to he's coming in to play the villain in the Glenn Powell movie or something like that.
Yeah, let me tell you why. I have followed The Rock longer than you've been alive, probably. And I have seen him through the stages of his life from the early 90s to now 30 plus years. The Rock has been in my life, okay? And I know that he does not make a big deal about posting cryptic stuff like this unless he is the lead of the cryptic stuff he is posting on. That's how Dwayne works, okay? And I know that's 100% the way he approaches it. He's not going, okay, I'm going to be in this movie, be the villain. I won't even be the lead. He's not going to crow about being a villain or the secondary character, in essence, in the movie. That's nonsense. So I think it's more about them working on. And Zach Penn, Ready Player One, who wrote the story for Avengers.
Well, so that's the thing is that to me, from what I know about JJ's next movie,
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing that Zach Penn would write, and also no writer has been revealed for JJ's next movie.
Okay.
Even if you go into Deadline's Jenna Ortega announcement, right? So she's the second person joining the cast, and there's still no writer mentioned.
Good point.
So to me, that's why the Zach Penn fits, and even like the Tonight It Comes to Life.
Yeah.
To me, from what I know about JJ's movie, that line, whether it's a tagline, a line of dialogue, whatever, would fit what I understand the movie to be about.
What do you understand the movie to be about? Can you say?
Well, what I understand the movie to be about, I was told was inaccurate, but it's like, well, what's inaccurate about it? That kind of thing, you know? Is this just Benedict Cumberbatch isn't playing Khan either. That's inaccurate too.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, let me read your words back to you. You said, I'm told it's a, quote, fantasy film with some Last Starfighter vibes, according to a source who added that it doesn't take place in space and that it's decidedly a throwback of sorts. They noted that the script has drawn mixed reception from industry insiders who have read it, but hey, you can't please.
Okay, so like, here's what's making me think that it is. It's like, I heard the movie, it does have a little Ready Player One to it. And that, again, I don't know if this is true. I'd heard it was about like a big author, right? Like think George R.R. Martin.
Okay.
And everyone wants to get their hands on the last book, right? Or, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And there's like some Wonka-esque contest.
Okay.
And it's won by, a little boy or something like that. I don't know like who wins it.
Yeah.
But like Glenn Powell, and this is maybe where the Last Starfighter thing is sort of drafted to go in his steed on like this quest to find the last book potentially, maybe. And then Jenna Ortega would be like the princess in those books.
Right.
And it turns out that world is real. Now, they said that's not true, that this is inaccurate.
Okay.
And the quest of, they're trying to find a book sounds not good. So it's like, but like my source who read the script again said it was like JJ had not seen a movie since the mid-90s. Like that's sort of how they responded to it. Wow. They just said it was very like old-fashioned, and I think that Zach Penn is a kind of old-fashioned writer. I don't know if this is one in the same projects. I don't know if the log line is right. This is just what I heard, that Jenna Ortega is going to play the princess of a world that is about, a fantasy world that's in books that comes to life. And that's why that Dwayne Johnson tagline to me, when I saw it, I was like, oh.
Well, it could be. Now, I might be amending my point of view because if you throw in the Last Starfighter vibes, now that's a film I watched in the 1980s.
I have no idea what that is. Right.
Yeah. So let me explain to you, to you youngins out there. The Last Starfighter was a pretty awesome film that came around the time of like Battle Beyond the Planets, and I think that's what it's called, or something like that, and Iron Eagle. This idea of having a mentor who mentors a young mentee in starfighting. So this basically is that this kid, it's played by Lance Guest, is really good at this video game. Robert Preston, that's right, the Music Man, comes down, recruits him to be a starfighter to help save the princess, played by Catherine Mary Stewart. So, who some of you may remember from Weekend at Bernie's. So this is essentially the film, and he goes out into space and he fights and all of this stuff, and he saves the lady, wins the day, and all of that.
The boy does, or the
boy does.
Right.
So The Rock could be the person who is training Glenn Powell who sees he's going to be essential for this battle that's happening out in space, recruits Glenn Powell and trains him to be a fighter. And Jenna Ortega is the love interest or princess.
It's not a remake of Last Starfighter or anything like that.
Right. But elements of it.
I mean, and even the other thing is, like, I wonder, like, did something happen with Glenn Powell where Glenn Powell had to fall out because he's so busy, and is Dwayne Johnson coming in to take over the lead role? Like, is that...
Ooh, okay.
I have no fucking idea what's going on.
Yeah.
But I did think that was an interesting photo / meeting to publicize.
Right. Oh, right. Sorry, guys. Yes. Catherine plays his girlfriend. Sorry about that, guys. Yes. Catherine plays his girlfriend in the movie. Sorry about that. It's been a while.
Again, think 80s fantasy sci-fi. That is the vibe that I'm getting from this. Yeah. Obviously, it's going to be a big budget world building thing because if you're Glenn Powell, I think, and you're working with J.J. Abrams, that's what you're looking to sign on to.
Yeah.
And even, Jenna Ortega getting 2 stars like that. Yeah, I think it gives you an idea of what the scope, the size and scope of this movie.
But do you like this pairing? I mean, The Rock coming off the Black Adam situation, JJ coming off the Star Wars.
Yeah, I do. These are 2 showmen. Yeah, I do. I think it is a good pairing. Again, I don't know what the project is or will turn out to be, but on paper, I think it actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Dwayne needed same thing with like Will Smith for a while or whatever, but like needed to work with better filmmakers.
Yes.
Like, you can only make so many movies with like these anonymous. And all due respect to Rawson or Brad Payton or some of these people who Dwayne works with, but yeah, like Benny Safdie, J.J. Abrams, this is who you should be working with. Yes.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I like that point of view on it. Yeah, it's The Rock kind of leveling up a little bit, realizing, or Dwayne leveling up a little bit, realizing he's got to work with stronger filmmakers. And look, JJ, this is you catching JJ at the right time. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he wouldn't look twice at The Rock, but in this kind of a situation where he's at, maybe it is something he's willing to explore. I like.
Yeah, exactly. If you're JJ and you've kind of been kicked around the last few years, you're looking for a huge star who's gonna, pack people in.
Agreed. All right, let's take a quick break, Jeff. And on the other side, we'll talk some more stuff like trailers and Christopher Nolan news and what have you. And keep sending in your Streamlabs Super Chats. We have 450 people watching us live right now. Thank you so much. Make sure you hit a like on this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and leave your comments down below for those of you watching later as we go along. And Jeff, where can they subscribe to your newsletter right now during this break?
theinsnider.com. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, it should have been enough time for you all to subscribe to that newsletter there for Jeff. Let's get into some trailers, brother. We had a big one dropped this morning here. The Electric State from the Russo brothers and Marcus and McFeely, starring Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt. This one was really interesting, a fascinating trailer. I watched it like 3 or 4 times because of what it was exploring here. Robots versus human beings. Things have changed. Stanley Tucci's in this. Millie wants to find her brother, and Chris Pratt's going to help her do it. Ke Huy Quan is in this. Quite a lot of actors are involved in this one. What was What were your thoughts here on this particular trailer, and what do you think this movie's going to be?
Thought it looked okay. I mean, it's based on those the guy style. It's like style. It's some Icelandic guy or Norwegian guy or something. It looked visually interesting. Like it reminds me of that other thing that's based on his stuff, that Amazon series. I'm fucking blanking on.
Okay,
help me out in the chat. But it was missing something. I mean, it just felt flat, a little like a Netflix movie. And I don't know if Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown really had a ton of chemistry, or if that's just like an algorithm. Like, let's slap these two together. Yeah, it didn't look great to me.
Tales from the Loop, I think, is what you're
right.
thinking.
That was the show. Thank you, Network.
So yeah, like I said, Tucci's in this thing. Interesting cast all around.
Yes,
to be a part of this.
Jason Alexander.
Yeah, Jason Alexander which is an interesting choice as well. But Jenny Slate, Alan Tudyk, Giancarlo Esposito, Woody Harrelson, Brian Cox, Billy Bob Thornton, Anthony Mackie. God, that's a lot of people that are coming together. I mean, I spent last night after the Agatha episode, I spent about 2.5 hours watching Infinity War and Endgame, like scenes from Infinity War and Endgame. And I just thought to myself, man, I miss the Russo brothers. I miss Marcus and McFeely. I miss this combo. And so to see that this is coming from these guys is exciting. But I got to agree with you. And listen, I'm going to say something that's probably going to get me a lot of trouble. I don't know that Millie Bobby Brown is a lead, bro. I don't know that she's a lead necessarily for these kinds of films. Look,
I liked her in Damsel. Did you see Damsel?
I did. Yeah. I mean, between that and what was it, Jamie King's Princess one, I was like, I've seen this already. So I wasn't necessarily that impressed. I think she's a damn good actress. I don't know necessarily that she's the lead of a franchise. Stranger Things is an ensemble piece. She is one of the leads, but she's not the only lead. So I don't know necessarily that she's a strong lead. Am I off on this?
Again, she's young, right? I mean, and she's spent the last 5-6 years making like the biggest hit TV show.
Yeah,
so
well, yes, sure.
Yeah, I can't really like falter.
I'm not.
She also,
I'm just,
and she also like launched a franchise with Enola Holmes. So I think she does have something.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm talking big. Like, I'm not talking.
Is she a butts in seats like theatrical movie star? No, but that's not what Netflix's business model is. So they don't need her to be that.
Right.
Good point. This movie they spent too much on this movie.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not going to sit here and bemoan that because it cost me the same as every other movie on Netflix, right? Like,
yeah, your monthly fee.
Yeah, like pay whatever you want. Like, now they may have to raise prices on the service to keep supporting huge bets like this, particularly if they don't garner the viewership. But
yeah, that's the frustrating part of this all, because I mean, fine, spend all that money you want, but don't pass it on to the consumers and the customers.
We shouldn't have to pay for your bad decisions and your largesse.
Your job should have to pay for your largesse. Fire a bunch of executives that make up the $320 million. It's not fair to make us pay the extra for it. Fuck that. Because
that's what always happens, right?
That's what I'm saying. But if you're not delivering good, if you spend $320 and the film is shit, why do I have to pay, or any of us have to pay, for your mess ups because you decided to spend this money on this film and the film was terrible?
Right.
It's just frustrating on so many levels. I mean, it's getting a lot. Like I did the numbers the other day because I like to pay a yearly. I know some you can't, like Netflix, but I like to pay yearly. It's a lot, man. Even with the discounts, I get some military discounts. It's still a lot. And so it's just frustrating because they keep raising the prices, but I don't know that these streaming services are all raising the quality. I mean, and I say that as Netflix just got
cutting back on the quality. They lured you in with the quality, and now it's like, well, we got you. We can make whatever we want now because you're stuck here in this ecosystem and you're not going to leave.
Yeah. The irony is that Apple TV is probably making some of the best content streaming wise, yet they're nowhere near the price for Netflix, and it's just
but that's like Netflix, that's its whole business, right?
Yeah.
With Apple, that's nothing. They could care less about it or how well it does.
But I have to agree with you, Jeff. I didn't watch this trailer and come out of it going like, yeah, I can't wait to see this movie. I was more like, okay. I'll watch
This
it.
is going to be a 2.5-star movie.
Yeah, probably.
Calling it right now.
That's 2.5 cowboy hats to you, buddy. That's 2.5 cowboy hats to you. Let's move on to another one here. What do you think of this one, Jeff? Horror man, Osgood Perkins here from the based on the short story by Stephen King, produced by James Wan. The Monkey. This one looked pretty brutal. You know, we're having these conversations this week after Terrifier 3. Should we kill kids? Well, there's a lot of death in this trailer, Jeff. That's pretty brutal, or has alluded to a lot of death. What were your thoughts on this trailer, man?
I thought it looked great.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I think Neon really gets Osgood Perkins and what he's going for as a filmmaker, and they just have marketed the hell out of, you know, both Longlegs and now The Monkey.
Mm-hmm.
I showed this trailer to my brother and sister-in-law last night, and they thought it looked great.
Yeah.
At first, they wanted me to turn it off because they were like freaked out and they don't like horror stuff. But they, you know, I think that they saw that it was a little bit more comedic in nature, like
Yes.
blackly comedic, and yeah, they thought it looked great.
When twin brothers Bill and Hal find their father's old monkey toy in the attic, a series of gruesome deaths start. The siblings decide to throw the toy away and move on with their lives, growing apart over the years, but can't let go of it. This one has Theo James, Elijah Wood. Osgood is in this one as well. Tatiana Maslany, Sarah Levy. This is a good collection of actors, but it seems like this is a story that is going from place to place, horror-wise, with the monkey, and I kind of appreciate that. You know, I love the Stephen King short stories that get turned into movies. A lot of times it really works.
I think it's going to cut back and forth, you know, between the twins as boys and as grown adults.
Right.
But yeah, I just think that people really like A24, right?
Yeah.
People really think Neon has tapped into something.
Yeah.
Whether that's Anora or Parasite or Longlegs, like from what I understand, Mike Flanagan, right, with The Life of Chuck, which just won TIFF, that won the audience award. He got some theatrical offers, like from major studios.
That's
and
nice.
He turned them down and took less money to go with Neon.
Wow. Because he feels
I haven't heard that come out anywhere, but yeah, I heard he turned down better deals for less money to go with Neon because he just loves how they put out movies.
That makes sense. If you want to get taken care of, you want to go to a place where you feel taken care of, why not go there? It makes all the sense in the world.
They're committed to theatrical. That's what it is. Your movie's not going to wind up on streaming 17 or 18 days later like a lot of these Universal and Warner Brothers movies are.
Yeah. Like Joker 2 is about to be in 8 days or something like that. It's like next week or the 29th. So maybe 11, 12 days. That's crazy. That's effing crazy. Let's move on to this other trailer here, man. Carry On. Jean Collet Sarah trailer here. With Taron Egerton and Jason Bateman. What did you think of this one, Jeff? I did a reaction to it on my channel. Didn't get a lot of numbers, but I thought I'd try it out. What did you think of this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great setup for a movie.
Yeah.
Right? The cat and mouse guy who's blackmailing the TSA agent. Really like the casting here with Bateman and Taron Egerton.
Yeah.
Don't think that this will be very good, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, he did, you know, Jean did a lot of these films for Liam, right? Like Nonstop and Unknown and Run All Night, which I thought
The
Commuter. Yeah. So I like him as it. I think he's a very capable director for those kinds of films. I did like his Jungle Cruise. I hated his Black Adam. So, but maybe this is like stripping it back down to something he knows. This kind of
a return, the Neeson B movies and stuff, except it's Taron Egerton on the phone now.
Yeah. What does it say to you that Taron took the lead in a film like this? Where is he at acting wise, as an actor, status wise, as an actor, that he would take the lead in a Netflix film like this from Jean Collet Sarah?
I mean, it was probably a good payday, to be honest.
Yeah? Okay.
I mean, it's Netflix's big like commercial holiday movie, not like art house. We're trying to win an Oscar, but like we expect this thing to get views, and I think that it will. I think with Bateman in particular, the Netflix audience really likes him thanks to Ozark.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is going to be a big hit Netflix movie that will not be very good, just like a lot of other big hit Netflix movies.
It's a weird career. I mean, coming out of Rocket Man, Taron hasn't done. I mean, Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. That's a voiceover. The Sandman was a podcast series. Thing 2 voiceover. Come Home voiceover. Glimpse was a short. Blackbird, which I know was a great series.
Yeah, he was tremendous.
Tetris was good, but these are not big like boom Taron Egerton projects. Is this where he's at? Is this Taron for now? Like he's just gonna kind of do these where his artistic compass goes? He's not necessarily going to the big stuff.
No, I think that he's holding out for the right big thing. I think he's a smart actor who actually makes some good choices. Like I haven't really seen any terrible choices, although he was Robin Hood, right?
Yeah, well, yeah,
but he was young.
That was a terrible movie.
Yeah, now he has an Emmy, right? Doesn't he?
Mance and I both walked out of Robin Hood and just had a drink halfway through the movie.
Mance walked out. Oh, you're outing him. We'll go back to the quotes and it'll be like, it was a fucking amazing movie.
I don't think you put any quotes out for Robin Hood. Oh, yeah, I hated that. So, but I mean, people were talking about
Love you, Mance.
People were talking about Taron Egerton for everything. And now they're not necessarily doing that anymore. You know, you're only a flash in the pan for so, or not flash in the pan, but you're only a flavor of the month for so long if you don't start.
I think that he has plenty of leading roles left in him.
Okay. Yeah. I don't disagree. I think he's certainly got the talent. I love Rocket Man. It's much better than Bohemian Rhapsody. So, all right. So we'll see. All right, let's move on to some other stories here, brother man. Christopher Nolan. Let's talk. Well, first let's kind of get into that by talking about this. There are rumors here that were going around earlier this week that a 6th Jason Bourne movie is said to be in development. First one since 2016. God, it's hard to believe that it's been
the Bourne dilemma. The real dilemma is, do we bring back Matt Damon or not?
Right. Well, attached to this rumor here, because it was a listing in Production Weekly, attached to this rumor was that Edward Berger, All Quiet on the Western Front's Edward Berger, would be the one who would take over from Paul Greengrass. And look, Prince William, of all people, asked Greengrass if he was going to come back and do another Bourne movie. And he said, I've done my bit. I hope they find somebody younger, somebody great young to do it. I think they're in the process. I don't know how much younger Berger necessarily is than Greengrass, but that's the approach. Now, I brought this up to you and you said, I don't think this is going to happen. And then you said, because I think it's going to be the Nolan situation with Matt Damon and this possible remake of Blue Thunder. So explain your feelings about all of this. What are your thoughts on all of this, the Blue Thunder and the Bourne aspect with Nolan and Damon?
I mean, I think Universal needs to fucking move on. Like, it's 100,000,000%. Like, not even get rid of Matt Damon.
Wow.
Get rid of him.
Oh, so bringing a new Jason Bourne is what you're saying. So
yes.
Reboot the whole franchise.
Yes.
Wow.
Newborn. Goodbye, Matt Damon.
Wow.
Goodbye. As to who that should be, I think
Taron Egerton. No, I'm just joking.
Taron Egerton, not a bad call, but he kind of already was that, right?
Yeah,
in Kingsman.
Right.
I think Anthony Ramos could be good. I think Universal is also high on Jonathan Bailey.
Yeah.
After Wicked and Jurassic. But yeah, Matt Damon is off doing Nolan's movie for Universal. So like, I don't really understand him doing both of these movies. Variety even mentioned that Nolan's movie might be an espionage movie, although it sounded very wishy-washy. They're like, some sources say it's in the espionage genre. Like, I don't know if that's true or not.
Right.
Regarding the Blue Thunder of it all, like, to me, that rumor passed the smell test.
Okay.
I mean, let's get into it. So yeah. I've never seen Blue Thunder. Have you?
Yes, of course. I grew up in the 80s.
What, and were you a fan?
Yeah, Roy Scheider. It's not a great film, but it's a fun Saturday afternoon watch. That's what I would say. Like Firefox, Eastwood's Firefox. One of those type of.
All right. Well, I've never seen Blue Thunder, but like, it's about this high-tech helicopter.
Yeah.
To me, I could see that being the subject of Nolan's next movie, like super advanced weaponry or whatever, and warfare in the sky, like in an urban setting in the skies.
Yeah.
And like, he's experimented with the sky heist before at the beginning of The Dark Knight Rises. Right. Which is like such a great sequence.
The best scene in the movie.
Yeah. Like, listen, it could totally be bullshit, but the way that Reddit rumor read, it just sounded like a little too specific. to be bullshit.
So let me read the rumor so the fans are caught
You
up.
have the actual page on Reddit, right? Okay.
The story goes that Nolan and his team are currently working with the NYPD Aviation Unit. The word is that the film will be an NYC-based futuristic action film about a helicopter pilot who heads up the aviation unit in the U.S. and the creation of a super advanced yet dangerous helicopter, which is also being pursued by terrorists. So the rumor is, instead of circulating a screenplay to his crew, Nolan has apparently made sure that they each receive, quote, high-quality versions of the 1983 film Blue Thunder, which starred Roy Scheider, was directed by John Badham. So
that to me, I mean, I guess that's possible, but it also was like, it seemed a little ridiculous. But the idea of like, oh, Nolan and his team are coming in November, and then Matt Damon's going to join them, and like, a few weeks later when he gets off whatever project, that all kind of added up to me, because Damon's doing that movie Rip, right? The Joe Carnahan movie with Affleck.
Yeah.
And
Kyle.
And again, if they're going to start, shooting next year or whatever, just like the prep work being in around November before, to do it before the holidays, everything.
Yeah.
To me, it made sense. We also haven't heard any denials. I feel like if it was total bullshit, I might have already heard from Nolan's team or something, who like were quick to deny everything else.
It's a fascinating situation because this film was like a little bit RoboCop before RoboCop. Because the helicopter is being developed, and then they find out that it's being developed to essentially have more sinister implications to it. So it's almost like it's a little bit like RoboCop before RoboCop. So it would be interesting that Nolan would tackle technology-based weaponry and the fear it could cause, or the control it could cause, or be built to do. So what would Damon's role be on all of this? Is he the guy who's helping to develop, discovers what the actual reason for this development of this helicopter is, and tries to stop it from being used or finished in development?
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's a possibility there, because Damon's a good guy. He's always he's great as a good guy. So you want to follow him. And look, he's 54. So maybe he's like, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm the Chuck Yeager of the situation. I will try this helicopter out. I'll tell you what works, what doesn't work. Like Tom Cruise in Top Gun Maverick. I'll tell you what works, doesn't work in the plane. And then he's the one that figures it out, that what's going on. So that could be really interesting.
Getting back to the action stuff, I think makes sense in the wake of, after Oppenheimer. I think he's ready to get back out there and direct some crazy shit.
I agree. It'd be kind of fun to see for sure from him. But why are we going back to the 80s for everything, Jeff? What's happening here, man?
It beats me. It's not my favorite decade, I'll tell you that. Although I'm fine. I'm down for a remake of Plain Clothes. Somebody, anybody.
Come on. All right, let's move on to the story you wrote about, man. Charlie Kaufman is writing Bennett Miller's next movie. Jordan Rumi, you gave credit to Jordan Rumi from World of Real, had been all over this news. The Bennett Miller, who directed Moneyball, Capote, and Foxcatcher, is preparing to direct his first film in more than a decade. He said that AI would be a major theme of his next movie, and said that he was, quote, working with a writer right now on a film that's, quote, in the oven. Charlie Kaufman, of course, he wrote Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, one of my favorite movies, adaptation, a number of films through the early 2000s that people loved. So it's just an interesting combo, Bennett Miller and Charlie Kaufman, right? What are your thoughts?
Yes. I mean, first of all, it's been a decade since we got a new movie from Bennett Miller, who's fantastic.
Yes.
I loved what he did with Foxcatcher, and it's crazy to think that was 2014. He's been talking up this AI movie in recent months, and he said that he was working with a writer, but he never identified who the writer was.
Yeah.
Now, he's not just going to work with any writer, right? And I think if you were going to write an AI movie, like, Charlie Kaufman is one of the first writers I would turn to. Like, he has an interesting take on stuff. And he also has sort of been on the sidelines a little bit. Certainly, like a decade ago, 15 years ago, he's probably the hottest screenwriter in town. And he's cooled off, maybe because the town's become more resistant to his kind of high concept pitches. But if anybody can get an original movie like that made, it might be Bennett Miller, who has a hell of a track record. And by the way, and with Blue Thunder, just to go backwards a step, like, that may be Nolan railing against AI.
Yeah.
Right? That may be him
100%.
Exactly. So I think AI is very hot right now, and it's like, how can we make movies that comment on AI that are still entertaining without being preachy and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Nolan and Bennett Miller will take very different approaches, but both equally as thoughtful, I imagine.
Yeah. It's interesting when you look at Charlie Kaufman's career, because as a writer, like I said, early 90s or late 90s, early 2000s, Being John Malkovich is 99. Human Nature, an interesting little film that didn't quite hit the mark. But then you get Adaptation, which is a fantastic film from 2002. Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. I think it's Clooney's directorial debut. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is really the apex of Charlie Kaufman as a writer. Then there's Synecdoche, New York, Anomalisa, I'm Thinking of Ending Things, Orion in the Dark. Not quite as heralded as those films from the.
Yeah, I haven't loved his directorial stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not a Synecdoche guy. I'm not I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I could not stand either.
Yeah.
But he's not directing this, that's Bennett. So I think it's a hell of a pairing, and it's in the works over at Annapurna, which makes sense because they did Foxcatcher.
Yeah.
So I think, the studios are keeping their eye on this one. I don't know who's attached to star because Bennett Miller has said that there is talent attached.
Yeah.
I think there was, it's fair to speculate it could be a guy like a Brad Pitt who was in Moneyball, and because it has to be someone who can get financing, who can actually get this movie made. Yeah. And Brad Pitt also hired Charlie Kaufman to do uncredited rewrites on Ad Astra.
Oh, right. Yes.
So, there's a little bit of a connection there.
I like that idea. Look, first of all, you go ahead.
Finish go on.
I was going to say, like, we look at JJ and The Rock and you go, okay, these guys need each other right now where they're at in their careers, right? But you're like, okay, I hope they do something good. I might enjoy it. Bennett Miller and Charlie Kaufman, these are artists, man. And you want to see these guys come together and create something that'll remind people why we all fell in love with them and their movies and their work. And so they've kind of been, as you said, a little bit on the forgotten side, the back burner, not quite talked about as highly. I would love to see them get together to come back with a film that would like knock people's socks off and like as an Oscar contender for Best Picture. Both of them can deliver, man.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on, I did get an email this week from someone who really needed to know, John, why you flip-flopped on Joker 2.
What? Who is this email from, first of all?
I can't identify them publicly.
You're going to go to jail to protect this source? That's not. What are you talking about? First of all, I didn't flip-flop, and I resent that term on Joker 2. What happened was I issued a out-of-theater reaction, and I had gone to see it with the Lady Outlaw. We liked the first two acts of the movie. Like, we enjoyed the first two acts. But then that third act happened, and I found myself, like, really feeling like I didn't like the movie, but I wasn't 100% sure about how I felt, because it's a film that you have to like kind of process and simmer and say inside of you before you come out with what your opinion on the film is. And the more I thought about it after I'd recorded my out of theater reaction, because it's right out of the theater, the more I thought about it, the more I started to hate the movie. Then I went back to see it again and reaffirmed my distaste for the movie, because I liked what was presented initially in the opening sections of the film, but then he completely, Todd Phillips does, decimates it in the third act of the movie and makes you feel like an idiot for having even watched the first two parts of the film and thought something profound was going to happen. And please miss me with all these motherfuckers writing some kind of intelligent dissection of this masterpiece of them. Get the fuck out of here. This is an essay from a 15-year-old about mental illness and mental health. There is nothing new, novel, or groundbreaking in Joker 2. And it's more insulting to have people coming out going, you just don't get it. I'm smarter than you. You don't get it. Get the fuck out of here. It's not that difficult to break down a bunch of underwritten characters, completely unmotivated story beats. And then by the end, it's a flaccid ending that you're just like, really? You're just going to present a new one? That's your fucking ending? So it just was kind of lame the more I thought about it. But I did go to see it to reaffirm.
I think it's fair that you're entitled to change your mind and to have a different reaction right out of the theater, and then after you think about it and sleep on it for a day or two. Totally, I don't think it's that weird.
Yeah. Well, you got the email from somebody. Do you want to?
They wanted to know.
Okay.
I give the fans what they want.
Do you now? Do you now? It's interesting. Haunted_Autumn says, as someone who spent time at a mental hospital, when the state took them away from their mother due to abuse, Joker 2 really spoke to me. But you all do you. I get it, dude. I know there's elements of it that affected people for sure. And certainly I'm not going to tell people not to like the movie, for God's sakes.
I respected the effort.
Was it Todd? Was it Todd who emailed you? That would be very nice, but I doubt it. Very seriously. He's stuck on the
You guys know, though, that Todd's producing partner is the person who brought me to LA.
Oh, nice. Nice. Is that a hint? I wonder if that's a hint.
No, I don't think they pay attention to me anymore. They're like, oh, God, what did I do? I unleashed Jeff Sneider on this town. I'm sorry.
Ian Sneider. All right, we got a couple more stories to hit here. We got 470, almost 500 of you watching us right now. Please make sure you hit a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel down below, man. We just crossed 35,000, marching towards that 50,000. Give us some love here. And also subscribe to Jeff's newsletter, theinsider.com. Look, you can't see his ranting and ravings on Twitter anymore, so you got to go to theinsider.com to hear what he's got to say.
Exactly, guys.
Yeah. Let's move on to Tom Hardy's story, man. Tom Hardy. Last week, Deadline reported that Tom Hardy is in talks to star in Guy Ritchie's Paramount Plus series, The Associate. By the way, I didn't know this. I'm super fucking excited. The Rock and Roll is one of these unrecognized, really damn good Guy Ritchie films that people don't talk about enough. Oh, you're insane.
Come on.
Revolver is the shit pile. Rock and Roller was good, man. I mean, you have Idris Elba, Tom Hardy, Gerard Butler, Tandy Newton. What's your problem, man? That's a good fucking movie, dude. Come on.
Anyway. A good cast does not make a good movie. Okay,
It's
not a good movie.
It's not like Todd Phillips there with your 15-year-old. Anyway, you're told, apparently, to your newsletter, you're told that Tom Hardy is negotiating a $45 million deal for a 3-season commitment, $15 million per season, and he'd only have to work 4 months each season. That's insane. But tell me,
pretty good deal if you're Tom Hardy. That's what I hear are the salary details for this. I mean, to get a major movie star like that, someone of his caliber, you gotta contend with the quotes that he's getting. And so if you want to take him off the board for 4 months, he could shoot a movie in that time, right?
Totally.
I think you also have to pay a little bit of a premium if you're gonna, you're using him in the marketing materials to drive subscriptions, all that. So
right.
Do I think he's worth it?
Yeah.
That's a different
story.
$15
million a year.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Season, rather. That's a lot.
That is a lot. But he is a marquee star, and he does have like a curiosity factor that I think would make this show like a must watch, or at least like a must sample. I mean, think of just like who is the lead in The Gentleman? Theo James,
who's going to be in
and that movie and that show was successful on Netflix, but it didn't get a whole lot of like Emmy love. Like, I don't know, with Tom Hardy front and center, could Guy Ritchie crack the Emmy field and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that's a good point. The Associate is a 1-hour drama that follows 2 generations of gangsters, the businesses they run, the complex relationships they weave, and the man they call upon to fix their problems. And you're saying that Pierce Brosnan and Helen Mirren will be what? Are they the married couple in charge? Are they what's the situation there? Or rival gang? Or what do you know?
So Mirren and Brosnan are the heads of the crime family, and Hardy is the guy that they use to fix their problems.
He's their Ray Donovan in essence.
Right, exactly. And this is how it started. It started as a Ray Donovan spinoff. Set across the pond.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's how it was announced, was a Ray Donovan spinoff. And
great idea.
But that never made sense to me at all. And I'm glad, that it has no connection now to Ray Donovan, apparently.
Gotcha. But I mean, we've seen that recently, as you said, The Gentleman. There was also that Sexy Beast on Paramount Plus, that series.
Right.
So the idea of exploring kind of the British gangster side of things, I'm not surprised by this. There was also a fantastic series a few years ago called Kin with Charlie Cox. It was Irish gangs going at it that I thought was excellent with Kieran Hines as well. So I like this idea. And look, I mean, if J-Lo could get $15 million to tell people what to do on American Idol when she's marginal at best, then I think Tom Hardy can get $15 million to lead The Associate. But I'd like to see the numbers of Taboo on FX. I feel like those numbers weren't great, even though he was great in that series. But maybe they're using like Venom numbers to be like, look how much I can make here. $15 million, give it to me.
People in the chat, John, are asking for a discount code to the Insnider, and so this week's discount code for the Hot Mic listeners will be Umbrella. Now, I'm not on Twitter, so you can't slide into my DMs on Twitter, but you can slide into my DMs on Instagram with the code word Umbrella, or email me at theinsnider@gmail.com. Code word Umbrella, and I will hook you up with the Insnider newsletter discount.
Also, those same people enjoying are also saying that Rock and Rolla is a damn good movie. So, you know.
Okay. Well, then those people are crazy. No discount codes for you.
Toby Kebbell. Toby Kebbell.
Good soundtrack.
He was great, Tony Kebbell. He was so good.
He was good, but I did not care for that movie. Certainly not like on the level of Snatch or Lockstock.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good one. It's not Revolver, which was not good. What are your thoughts on how many episodes of the season? Do you know how many episodes it would be? Would it be 10, 8?
It would be 8 to 10, I would imagine. I mean, whatever, the other Paramount Plus shows are.
I love this idea, by the way. I love it. All right, let's take one more break, then we'll hit a couple more topics and then jump into your Streamlabs and Super Chat. Send them in now, people. Send them in now as we're getting in the back last part of the show here. Send them in. We'll be right back right after this. All right, Jeff, let's get to it. I want to bring up something you also put in your newsletter, and that is over the weekend, Searchlight Pictures finally confirmed your report that Ready or Not 2 was in the works with Samara Weaving returning to star. I know that FYC's Perry Nemiroff recently hosted a Q&A with Samara and the makers of the first Ready or Not there. But you're saying there's a twist to the news. You had heard that Adam Robitel from Escape Room was coming in to take over the reins from Radio Silence, but it sounds like Matt Gulpin and Tyler Gillett will be back to direct after all. So are you the biggest Radio Silence guy, what they did with Scream. So, but you're happy that they're back to direct the sequel?
No, I mean, I wasn't a big Ready or Not guy. I thought it was like an okay idea for a movie. Yeah. I didn't love the execution. I hated the ending. It just felt like everybody, like they didn't have an ending and they just shrugged and they were like, well, what if this happened?
Blow them the fun.
I'm just surprised. I was surprised that they're back because I just thought that this, like Searchlight was prepared to do a sequel.
Yeah.
But didn't necessarily need them back. They just needed Samara Weaving back, really, and Radio Silence would produce. And I definitely heard Robitel was coming in. Like, I mean, I've thought that for the last few months. I don't know what happened here, or why that fell apart, or if Radio Silence's schedule just changed. I mean, again, they didn't end up coming back for another Scream.
Yeah.
I forget if something else fell apart. Abigail obviously did not do very well.
Right.
So maybe they found themselves in a position of having to go back whereas they didn't necessarily plan on it.
Yeah.
I think it's a smart idea to make a sequel to this on paper.
Oh yeah.
Financially. But yeah, I don't love those guys or their approach, and I do think Robitel probably would have delivered a better movie.
Oh, interesting. Okay. But I think those who enjoyed Ready or Not, like me, you get excited that you're coming back. But what's the story going to be? She pretty much cleaned the house at the end of the movie. So
exactly.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm wondering is there another family, another generation? What's her connection to it all? Curious. Is she going to marry into another family with weird shit going on?
That would be funny. That would be kind of interesting,
right? She just choose bad men. Doesn't she just choose bad men? That'd be funny. Let me ask you about this. I don't know if you saw this article this week, but Al Pacino was talking about the drastic career changes he made in his life in his new memoir, which is out now, called Sonny Boy, which I don't know if you've gotten that, Jeff, but I certainly want to pick it up. He said that at one point he had $50 million and then he had nothing due to a corrupt accountant who eventually served time in prison for the scheme. Pacino said in 2011 he started to, quote, get warnings that my accountant at the time, a guy who had lots of celebrity clients, was not to be trusted. And quickly afterwards, he realized he was broke. And as a result, he had to change the way he went about choosing roles. He started accepting anything that was offering a big paycheck, including Adam Sandler's Jack and Jill. That was the first film he did after I lost my money. To be honest, I did it because I didn't have anything else. And Adam Sandler was very kind to bring me on, and we've been remained friends ever since. He said, I was not going to be making the kind of money from acting films that I just made before the big paydays that I was used to just weren't coming around. The pendulum had swung, and I found it harder to find parts for myself. He started doing commercials. started doing seminars, and then started showing up in some pretty crappy movies. So maybe this is the do we now need to see Al Pacino through a different prism because of this situation? And how come these guys always get involved with these shady accountants? Do they not vet these people, man?
I don't know that. I mean, I don't know that you could vet these accountants and it's like, oh yeah, this guy's shady. I think the accountant's probably fine, and then he's just in a position where there's so much money coming into the account, he doesn't think Al Pacino's going to miss X, Y, or Z, and he just takes a little and then keeps taking more, and I mean, they become shady over time. So I think celebrities just attract, people who are always trying to take advantage of them.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I know if I was a celebrity, I probably wouldn't be checking my bank account balance or, anything like that. I don't check it now. It's just why I got a cold slap in the face a few weeks ago. It's tough. It's tough being a celebrity. So I feel bad that Al was targeted. Did you hear the real reason though why he worked with Adam Sandler?
Please.
Oh, he worked with Adam Sandler. I heard because Adam Sandler's got a great ass,
and he wanted to put his head all up it,
all the way up it.
I just want to see it'd be hilarious. I was watching half an hour of that movie the other day on Tubi, and I was like, man, I miss this Pacino. I miss this De Niro. I miss this Pacino. De Niro telling Tom Sizemore, hey, I can't tell you to do this job. You got to make your own fucking decisions. You got a wife. You invested. You can walk away. For me, the juice is worth the squeeze. That's it. All of that. I miss those days, man. I miss the heat days of these guys. Now they're, both of them are old, and you can tell they're old. And Pacino's like, hey, I got a phone case of Shrek from my daughter. And then you've got De Niro doing little stand-ups on TikTok with the dude who imitates Donald Trump. And I'm like, what is fucking happening, man? So
I tell you what I watched on TV the other night.
I'm dying before 70. I'm telling you right now. I'm going to stay in a young man. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. What'd you watch on TV?
Nothing, because Al Pacino came in and said, you do not get to watch my motherfucking television set.
You can fuck my wife, but you can't watch my television set. Show me what you got.
Give me what you got.
Don't let us. We'll go on for a fucking hour. Don't let us do this. All right, let's move on. One more thing. Sean Baker, man. I put this on the rundown. You're interested to talk about it. Sean Baker's got Anora coming out, which I still claim is a sexy looking film from the trailer I've seen. He talked about the films that he misses seeing in the theaters, and echoing some of the stuff we've heard from Scorsese and Coppola and others from that time. He said, and this was to the AP, he said, what I miss, where are the mature film for adults that had human stories that didn't have to have explosions or didn't have to have superheroes or horror-based concepts? Where are those? He talked about Kramer versus Kramer, Silence of the Lambs, Robert Altman films. Where are they these days? They don't exist, unfortunately, or they're very few and far between. And it's like, let's get the audience to remember that all this stuff is just as worthy of being on the screen as the big tentpole films, the big blockbusters. And if we can bring that back, we can continue to keep theaters thriving, keep these mom and pop theaters open and alive. So yeah, we're trying here. But because he mentioned horror, apparently got a shit ton of a blowback on this and clarified this on Twitter and said there are some who think I'm slamming horror films. I grew up on horror films. I love horror films. I'd never slam horror films. What I said in the AP interview is that I wish studios would produce more adult dramas as well as the staple genres for theatrical releases. Jeff, aren't these just voices in the wilderness raging for the sun to come out? Like, those days are done. Those days are over. We can't, it's not a taste for it anymore. What are your thoughts on this comments, man?
I mean, is there not a taste for it, or is Sean Baker's Anora supposed to win Best Picture?
Well, Best Picture doesn't mean you're going to make $500 million with that movie, bro.
Right. No, of course not. But I do, as much as it is a business, and I've always thought that, right? Yeah. And if your movies are, but like Sean Baker's movies make money, I believe, because they cost so little to make. And I think that's what he's asking for. Like, okay, yeah, my movies don't gross $100 million, but don't expect them to. And I make them at a responsible price point. And, I don't lose the studio money. So yeah, I understand everybody wants to hit a home run every time at bat, but sometimes it's got to be, I just want to hit a box office single and tell a great story that is going to resonate and have an impact on people and maybe win some awards too.
Yeah.
And I think that, I'm sure that Sean Baker's going to find that there's a lot of suitors for his next picture, including those from the studio side. And some of them are going to pressure him to say, oh, do my Marvel movie, do my DC movie, whatever. And others are going to be like, you know what, Sean, we just want you to be you and make what you make on a larger scale, just like Universal is with the Daniels coming up.
Yeah.
Right. We want you to still be weird in the Daniels, but we're going to give you $100 million now to do it. I don't know if Sean Baker will ever be that kind of guy. I don't think, we don't need him to be. And I think it's refreshing that he has thus far resisted it. We'll see if after the award success he's about to have, if he can continue to resist those paychecks.
But I also, that's fair. That's a career thing. But I think the commentary he's making is off base. I really do. If you just stopped doing superhero movies tomorrow and only did adult dramas, you're not saving theaters, you're sinking them. People will not go see these things. The majority of people who go to these movies and see them multiple times, they won't. You know why? Because the old people who will enjoy adult entertainment, they sit at home waiting for it to show up on streaming services. You would have to do such a colossal shift in how you have access to these movies that it's too late to do any of that. And there is mature theme adult content that is out there for people to enjoy on streaming services in your local theater, but people aren't going to put at large numbers to see this. The Apprentice, which you loved, nobody went to see that fucking movie, and that's as adult as you get in approaching a subject matter like Donald Trump. But people didn't go. The substance isn't making.
Here's the thing I will say about The Apprentice, okay? Yeah. As much as I respect Tom and love that movie, Tom Holland, who did it, I didn't like the trailer. It's a bad trailer. The trailer is accurate. It sells it like a punk rock movie, and that's what I loved about it.
Yeah.
But what if they had just cut a trailer without the punk music that slowed down and sold it as like a drama? I think you'd have totally different results. But also everybody's sick of Trump, as they should be. I get why they wanted to rush that out before the election. Not that I think it's going to have like a ton of impact either way, but I don't think anybody had high box office hopes for that.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to see it sometime in the next few days or this weekend. I want to see it. It looks exceptional. I want to see these two guys, Jeremy Strong and Sebastian, bring it as actors.
I've seen a lot of reactions. Actually, I feel like Facebook presents them to me.
Oh.
The algorithm, for some reason, I see everyone. Whenever anyone sees The Apprentice, I'm seeing their reaction on Facebook, and I've seen it positive responses across the board. I haven't seen anyone say, "Hey, I didn't like this movie," except for Paul Schrader, who walked out. But I think he said what I saw was good. It's just like I'm not to see any more about this.
Paul Schrader said he walked out of Joker too.
Oh, I think he walked out of The Apprentice as well.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, I think Paul Schrader's been walking out of a bunch of movies lately. Not too shy about talking about it either.
I mean, look, Paul's had a decent track record recently, but not the best track record recently. No, I did like Card Counter, and I did like First Reform, but that one with Sigourney Weaver was. I
didn't like any of these movies, so Paul Schrader's not my cup of tea.
They're moody dramas. Yeah, but look, it's the substance. The substance was made for 17.5. It's only brought in 30.9. You know what I'm saying? So that's not even double its budget. So
like, who expected the substance to even do 30 million? Right?
Well, that's what I'm getting at. Sean is saying, like, we need to bring these films back. Those films are here, but people aren't going to see them. So if people aren't going to see them, why would the studios fucking make them? It doesn't make sense. It at the numbers that they did in the past. I get it. Those adult drama fare sold.
I don't think The Substance qualifies as adult drama. I think it's, let's see how Juror Number 2 plays. And I don't think I think it's probably going to get like a kind of dumped off release from Warner Brothers.
Yeah, because
that's what he's talking about. Like, let's see how a courtroom drama with a bunch of like actual stars performs. And I'll be curious to see.
Okay. All right. But let's wrap up this conversation and get into some Streamlabs Super Chats, but with talking about the box office. So Terrifier 3 is tearing it up. What's your review of this movie? Joker 2, 82%, 81% drop. My God, coming out on digital in a couple of weeks. What an absolutely colossal mess. for that film. But Terrifier 3 tearing it up at the box office, and the big drama around that, killing kids as if people have never seen My Girl or something. So what are your thoughts on this or it? What are your thoughts on the box office?
Send in the clowns. Terrifier 3. You didn't see it, John?
I did not. Of course, I'm not. No.
Yeah, you can't watch those movies. Those
far.
aren't for you.
That's too far into the hole.
John's been in the real shit. You've seen real human carnage up close.
You've seen kids really.
You buy your ticket for one reason. I think it delivered on that reason. You know, like these movies are never going to be high art. They are high art. Get it? He's Art the Clown. There are some good kills. There's nothing as memorable as like that one kill from, you know, In a Violent Nature. But I like that the movie has a sense of humor. I actually think that the actor who plays Art the Clown is a really good physical comedian.
Right.
The movies are fucking just too long. Just like,
oh really? How long are they?
Oh, they're way too long. They're over 2 hours.
What?
These movies would be so much better if they were just like literally cut in half and we're like 75 minutes of just like absolute carnage.
Wow.
But the lead girl, I thought she's a fun final girl, and I'm looking forward to more installments.
Yeah, all right.
There's something wrong though with our country when a Friday night showing of that movie is like sold out. Like it was packed when I went in Santa Monica, which is not a popular theater.
Not a surprise. It made, what does it say? It made 14 times its budget because it was only made for like $2 million, and it's already made $28 million overall. So that's incredible. And clearly it's a thing that people love. And I think it's a way of like pushing back, you know, like
it is
people going to see this movie, and it's a way of saying fuck you to the film industry in a way, because not everyone likes the superhero movies. Not everyone likes those kind of.
Oh, there's a lot of sick fucks out there like me.
And that too. Yes, that too.
And I did think it was interesting that, you know, box office observers said that there was an uptick in sales for The Wild Robot this weekend because people bought tickets to that and then snuck into Terrifier 2. 3.
Yeah. Oof. And Smile 2 is coming out this weekend. Did you get a chance to see that yet or no?
I did. I'm going to try to review Smile 2 tonight.
Okay.
I liked it. I mean, he can direct.
Fair point.
The script is a little weak in the second act. The movie does drag in the second act. It opens with a bravura 5-minute opening sequence.
Wow.
Like a sequence that makes you go like, who directed this? Like, what? And she was great, I have to say, Naomi Scott. It was like the best performance I've seen in a horror movie in a while.
Wow.
They put that poor girl through the ringer. I mean, it's a psychological thriller. It's not like a scary movie.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people say that this one absolutely blows away the first Smile movie, and it elevates its approach to what it's doing in this particular one.
It's a different movie. It's more serious. There's more. I don't know. I don't know about that. I think that they were both good.
Okay. All right. Fair point.
Very different movies though. The first one, she's really like about like trying to understand what's going on. You know, she's a psychiatrist or psychologist, and but I like the world of this, and it was
she's a pop star.
Parker did a good job.
Naomi Scott's a pop star in this one, right? So in that situation. Yeah, right now it's tracking at 28 million or 20 million plus range.
I'll take the over.
Yeah, 28, maybe the 28. Okay.
No, I mean 28 maybe high, but 24, 25.
Yeah. Do you think it'll unseat Terrifier 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Easy.
There you go. All right, let's move on to some Streamlabs and Super Chats. Jeff, let's roll through these. Wiley said, hey guys, Rocha, you're the best as always. Thank you, Wiley. So are you. I feel like 2024 has been a weak year for movies for me. Not much I've liked. Hard to make a top 10. 2019 felt the same. What do you guys think?
Disagree.
Yeah? Okay.
I think it's a weak awards year.
There's
nothing that I'm seeing that's like, oh, that's Best Picture, you know?
Even Anora. You've seen Anora, right?
But when I look at like the movies, like I gave a lot of movies 3.5 stars for me this year. I've already given like 8 of those or whatever.
out of 4, right?
Right. So like I think there's a lot of stuff coming too, Wiley. So just be patient. Like I showed my brother and sister-in-law all these trailers last night. They're like, everything that you showed me, Jeff, looks good. All the time I hear everything you show me, Jeff, looks bad. So whether that's Anora or Baby Girl or The Monkey or Companion, and I know that those aren't awards movies.
Night Bitch.
I mean, I don't know about Night Bitch. We haven't even gotten a trailer for Brutalist or September 5th yet, right? Right. I mean, Gladiator 2 is coming out. I think that there's a lot of stuff to be excited about.
I got invited to a screening of September 5th. Are you saying I should go see this movie?
I mean, Mance and Scott Feinberg think it's the best movie of the year. I can't wait to see it. I've been bugging Paramount. They haven't fucking sent shit.
Interesting. Okay. Matt Stern McCall says, Beth Snyder, Diddy will be cast for Terrifier 4. Oof.
I don't think he'll be available for filming.
He might be dead by then, if you follow the Epstein route. Thomas Lalibert says Todd Phillips somehow made a worse Joker than Ayer, David Ayer.
I don't know about that.
But if you listen to Todd Phillips, he was never really the Joker, sucker. C Black says, are we headed to the Children's Crusade story with Wanda and Doom being a couple? Yeah, possibly. Possibly. If you want to hear more of our thoughts on that, Mike Vogel and I reviewed the latest episode of Agatha All Along that is up on the channel if you want to watch it after this show. But yeah, possibly. Matt Sinners McCall says, Jeff, I want to take my mom to the movies, but unfortunately she's super religious. Do you recommend Conclave? I heard it's anti-Catholic. Is that true? My screening is next week. I'm seeing it before Venom 101-2 on the same day. Your thoughts, Jeff? Have you seen this yet?
I did see Conclave at TIFF, and yeah, I think if your mom's super religious, I think if you take her to see Conclave, you give her a heart attack. Yeah, I you know, again, there's a unusual ending to that movie that I doubt she will appreciate if she's super religious.
Isn't there a God movie out right now? God's Not Dead or whatever. Take her to God's Not Dead 3 or something like that. I think that's out.
Take her to Heretic.
Oh my. Tristan says, any chance you can say? Go ahead. What?
By the way, and I think Heretic may be up for the comedy or musical Globe. I saw that like THR like unveiled all the classifications for the Globes, and I thought I could have sworn Heretic was listed under comedy musical. It's so like the Globes are so ridiculous as far as that shit. It's insane.
Yeah. Okay, let's bring this up here. Tristan says, any chance you can say who Marvel have been meeting with for directing Blade? Any talks, or are they still looking? Jeff, have you heard anything?
Tristan, I saw your comment when it came in, and I texted my source during the show to see if there was an update, because they said that they may be able to let me know, soon. And they said no, not yet.
Not yet. All right. Take your mom to see Super/Man. That's a good documentary.
Take your mom to see Baby Girl in a few months. Watch Baby Girl with your mom.
We Live in Time, I hear, is good.
It is. That was excellent. But that's a tough one.
Comes out.
I watched Christopher Reeve, John.
Yeah, the Super/Man, the documentary.
We snuck into it after Smile 2. Hey, if Warner Brothers doesn't want me to sneak into it, they can send me a fucking invite.
That affects the filmmaker too. You know that, right? But all right, fine. Okay. You liked it, yes?
Yeah, I thought it was excellent. I gave it 3.5 stars. Nice. I cried throughout. But did you like that movie more or the Michael J. Fox doc more?
I like the Michael J. Fox movie more because the people who were currently involved with Michael J. at those times were able to comment on it and what was happening and talk about their experiences working with Michael J. during those sections of his career. That film moved me a bit more than this film. I thought Super/Man was excellent. But as I said when we first talked about it weeks ago, Robin Williams not being alive and his wife not being alive are massive things to not have in the film, in my opinion, because it would have been nice to hear their recollections of what Christopher was experiencing. So you can only judge a movie for what it is.
Yeah.
And it's a great documentary, but I do think Still is a better documentary than Super/Man.
I thought Still was just better made. Like Davis Guggenheim is a better director than the guys who made Superman.
Yeah.
But it was really good. It was really good.
Yeah,
I do hope it gets a nomination.
I agree. I think it certainly deserves one, because Still didn't, which is a fucking crime and a half. Sean Gay says, Occasional super chatter here. Jeff, based on your reporting, do you see a concrete plan for the new DCU? Seems like a lot of, quote, throw stuff at the wall. I don't know if I feel that way. Do you feel that way?
I mean, a little bit, yeah. But
Okay.
at the same time, I knew it would be that. Like, you can't come in and say, I've got a blueprint for this thing.
And then keep changing.
You know, like, yeah, you have to like be fluid and be like, oh, this guy brought me a good pitch. Like, that's a good movie. Sorry, it's not part of the original blueprint. We can't make it. Like, you have to be open to change. And but it does feel a little bit like what's everybody got? Because we don't know what the fuck we're doing over here.
Fair point. Let's see where we at here. All right. Eddie Alidia says, when will Tom Hooper be out of director jail? Yeah, Jeff, Tom Hooper. I just looked him up. Tom Hooper, Cats, 2019. That's the last theatrical feature he directed. The next credit was last year. He directed that Chevrolet commercial about the grandma remembering her husband and whatever. That's the only thing he's done since 2019. Whew.
Netflix.
Yeah, that would be the play.
Yeah,
100%.
He'll work again. He'll work again, but he'll have to make a good movie.
I don't feel like Cats was that big of a maybe. I don't know. It's a great director, man. King's Speech is a fucking awesome movie. Now and Again Productions. Have either of you heard anything about Los Frikis from the directors of Peanut Butter Falcon? The trailer dropped today. Heard some positive buzz. I didn't even see a trailer drop for this thing.
Is that a joke? Now and Again Productions heard some positive buzz. Jesus Christ. Do you know what this movie's about, Jeff?
No, I have no idea. And I love these guys. I've interviewed these guys twice. They're really cool people.
I am very much looking forward to Los Freakies. I loved Peanut Butter Falcon, and I've been tracking this project since the beginning, but it is about a group of teenagers who inject themselves with HIV.
Whoa!
To avoid, like, going off to like the sanitarium or something like that.
So this is set in Cuba.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it's like a true story.
Yes, true story set in the 90s, where a group of punk rockers in search of freedom deliberately inject HIV to live at a government-run treatment home.
Oh, so it's to live at the sanitarium, right? Not to avoid it, but to actually get in there.
Right.
Because there's just like chaos going on throughout the country. So when Now and Again says heard some positive buzz, I was like, Jesus Christ. I am looking forward to that movie for sure.
Fuck, I'm sad I didn't hear about this. I'm totally getting these guys, Tyler Nilsson and Michael Schwartz, on my channel, because this is a Latino-led.
You should.
Yeah, I got to get these guys to interview them, because we had a great time talking about Peanut Butter Falcon a couple of times. So I want these guys on.
It was the last movie to like crash award season. To me, it's the most recent film I recall being dated for this year.
Okay, maybe I'll do a trailer reaction for tomorrow. Jonathan says, do you know anything about the Batman 2 script, since it's apparently finished? What do you want? You want to know who the fucking...
I read it last night, actually. Let me tell you what happened. So,
Jonathan, come on.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you for the money, Jonathan. Come on, Jonathan. We can't... he can't reveal anything. I couldn't...
I don't know anything about the Batman 2 script. I mean, I have not read it. I don't know anyone who's read it.
We get in so much trouble if we said anything.
I mean, I don't give a fuck about the trial. Believe me, if someone has read it and wants to tell me what it's about, let me know who the villain is. I like breaking who the villains are in these movies, but I haven't heard anything.
A lot of people speculating that it's Mr. Freeze. A lot of people speculating it.
I still thought it was going to be Hush, but I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Tracer James 51 says, the news broke today about what's been going on with the God of War series. What about the other video game movie projects Sony announced 2 years ago? Jeff?
Dude, these are not like... Yeah. First of all, a lot of these things are just development announcements, but Tracer James, what did you think of the Halo series? Did you watch it?
The 2 seasons that got canceled.
Yeah, I was going to say probably not. I don't know anybody who fucking watched it. These are like, huge video games, and they turn them into these shows or movies, and like, they're not all Super Mario Brothers, man. I know God of War is a big one, but like Splinter Cell, all these these are just like development projects, man. After Halo, after how much money they sunk into that I wouldn't go near this shit.
Yeah, that's a fair point. All right, let's see here. What else have we got? Mad Sinister McCall says, I want a 5-hour Terrifier movie. I need therapy. Yes, you do. Played Out says just a little something, for the effort, just a little something for the, for the effort, something.
Fair point in the chat with the Fallout stuff. Fallout did do well. Fallout was good.
Sure. Max Loth says, any updates on the Safdie brothers drama / split? Are they on good terms or not speaking still?
I think that they may, the ice has started to thaw there. I think it.
Oh, okay.
Josh may have, told you just needed some time to get his shit together. I think.
Yeah.
Right, and so now he has this movie heating up with Timmy, and I don't know for sure one way or the other, but I don't think that they're like still not talking.
Yeah. All right. This is something I probably should have put on the rundown, but we should talk about it. Max Law says, can Greta Gerwig get a full theatrical release out of Netflix for Narnia? Or if not, will she exit the film? Jeff, all these came out about 4 days ago from Matthew Baloney's newsletter there that apparently she is, quote, clearly bummed, and that sounds like Greta would say something like that, about Netflix's plan to skip a theatrical release for the Chronicles of Narnia film. Her concerns have been voiced in reportedly amicable conversations with Netflix. So, do you think this is her beginning, as Jeff has hinted at, of her getting out of this situation because you think it's been odd that she's even stuck around this long to direct this as her next project? What do you think?
I mean, I do think that, but just because I've thought that for a while, that like, oh, this is never going to happen. Like, why would she do this?
Yeah.
Seems like she's still doing it.
Yeah, so far.
I also heard, like someone had pointed out that Production Weekly or Production listing that had it as a series, that was just like a typo and, inaccurate.
Oh.
So it's not going to be a series, even though I think that's how you solve all these problems is series perform better than movies on Netflix. The money that this is going to cost, it's easier to justify it, spending that money on a 10-hour show or, an 8-hour show than a 2-hour or 3-hour movie.
True.
You don't have to worry about it not getting a theatrical release then. Like, being a series solves kind of everything. But as of now, it's still a movie. And as of now, she's still doing it. I don't know, why she thought she would get some exclusive theatrical release that would be like longer than Scorsese or Cuarón or some of these other guys. I mean, granted, this is more commercial than Irishman or Roma, but it's just not that's not their business model. That's not what they do.
Yeah. Looking at the World of Real write-up on this, they quote Empire City as saying that Gerwig might be trying to get out of her Netflix deal to direct Narnia. Gerwig has apparently, quote, admitted to getting recurrent nightmares about the project. And another interview, she said that she was terrified that she might be in over her head doing it. But I mean, she knew this going in when she signed the contract, right? So it seems odd to change horses midstream. Like, hey, I want it to be released theatrically now all of a sudden. So
it's gonna get a theatrical release, but it's only gonna get one in
2-3 weeks. Yeah,
a couple hundred theaters for 2 or 3 weeks, exactly, because the major chains don't want to play Netflix movies. They're their competition.
Yeah. I think she's trying to get out of the deal. It feels that way to me. Like, to this nose,
feels that way to me too. And also, she signed the deal with who was in charge, Scott Stuber, not Dan Lin.
Right. Good point. Yeah, she's trying to get out of the deal. The nose never lies. Wiley OFC says, have you guys seen the movie Wonder Boys? It is so underseen. It was the holdovers for the early 2000s. Bob Dylan won an Oscar for the best song. I loved it. Yeah, that's Michael Douglas, Elijah Wood, or Toby. Is it Elijah or Toby? I think it's
Toby.
Elijah. Toby. Is it Toby? Okay. Yeah, what did you think of Wonder Boys? Jeff, do you remember that movie?
I thought it was okay. I actually have always thought it was a little overrated. It's one of those movies with a really good reputation that I feel is a little unearned.
Is that Curtis? Who did that? Yeah,
yes,
Curtis
Hanson.
Right. Frances McDormand. That's right. Katie Holmes. That's the girl that's in it, right?
Yeah,
Robert Downey Jr.'s in that.
Robert Downey. Yeah, exactly. This movie's okay, but it's not a rewatchable for me.
Oh, all right. Fair point. Thank you, Wiley. Max Law says, did Adam Driver really change his management/agency after so many of his projects were unsuccessful? Is that what happened?
So I think he left. I mean, he was always at Gersh. He was Gersh's like star feature client, and I think he may have signed with WME at this point.
Eddie Alidia says Ford needs an Emmy nod for Shrinking. I've yet to see this series. Did you see this? The second trailer, it's out. The second season's out.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the first season, but I've heard the second season is like pretty flat and not very good. So I have not started watching it.
That may be why they didn't promote it.
It got renewed. It already got renewed, but
really,
wow, for season 3.
Oh wow.
But again, that may just be Siegel and Ford, and like, it's probably a cheap show to produce too. It's just about therapy. Like,
yeah. Is this what they're doing, Apple, now? Because I mean, I saw some news that Bad Monkey was they're like planning 2 more seasons of Bad Monkey. We got Slow Horses approved for season 6.
All of these shows, these shows are cheaper to make than Foundation. Yeah. Right, and that's what people are talking about. They're talking about Bad Monkey and Slow Horses.
Right.
We're talking about the big sci-fi stuff. You don't need to spend $150 million on every TV show, Apple.
Or Silo, which has dropped their second trailer or their season 2 trailer. Tristan says, thanks for answering. Do you think Feige will hire more experienced directors and writers for their 2026, 2027 films since he's focused on Avengers?
I mean, I think so.
Yeah.
I do, and I think that's part of why Raimi's coming back, because it's like, here's a pro we can trust to deliver the fucking movie on time, and we don't need to hold his hand like a lot of these other people.
Yeah, fair point. Let's see if we got any Streamlabs that came through. Yes, David Ebekeme. Sorry, David, if I'm saying that wrong. It says Universal had acquired a script called Sector 6 spy thriller about the origins of MI6. Think Bond period film. MGM had dropped their lawsuit saying it was similar to Bond. Director Joe Cornish was attached. No new update. Could this be Nolan's new film?
No,
you don't think
so? No, because he writes his own stuff. He's not going to pick up what Joe Cornish put down. But I do remember like being at Variety and everything during the time of Sector 6 and tracking that project, and it always sounded like a good one. But yeah, I was surprised that even after all like the legal stuff and when all that stuff like got cleared, Universal still never proceeded to make it. Yeah. And I like Joe Cornish, like. I guess what was the last thing he did? The Kid Who Would Be King, which I liked.
I think that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. He's
Rebecca
good.
Was in that. Yeah. Rebecca Ferguson was in that. I remember that was a Schmodown question live in Orlando. There's a flashback for you. Let me see here. What else have we got Streamlab wise? Anthony V says, great show as always. The political satire movie Rumors with Cate Blanchett and Charles Dance as world leaders is out in theaters today. The trailer made me laugh with some of the jokes. Have you guys seen the film or would recommend? I'm kind of waiting on streaming for that one. I did like the trailer though, and I like Cate Blanchett I think she was doing a German accent. What are your thoughts on this, Jeff? Have you seen this or not?
We were talking about Disclaimer.
Rumors, the one with Cate Blanchett. And
I didn't actually watch the Rumors trailer. It's a Guy Madden movie. I'm not a big Guy Madden fan.
Okay.
This is like about like it's like the United Nations and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. It looked weird to me. I didn't watch the trailer, but like the image that I've seen going around.
Yeah. Mike Joyce says the Apprentice movie was great. I was worried it would be too biased like Vice, but it wasn't. Sebastian Stan and Jeremy Strong are terrific in it. What do you think of its award chances? Yeah, Jeff, have you amended your thoughts now that the film is kind of bombed in the box office?
Which movie?
The Apprentice.
No, I don't. I'm not going to amend my thoughts.
No, about its awards chances. Do you think it has any awards chances? Have you changed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jeremy Strong is just too good to be ignored.
Wow.
I think he'll get nominated. Sebastian Stan, it'll be tougher because nobody wants to vote for the Trump character.
That's a fair point.
But Jeremy Strong should not be ignored.
Okay. There you go. I'm not going to be ignored. Samo says thoughts on
I won't be ignored, Dan.
By the way, have you ever seen the original ending of that movie? It's on YouTube. It's a good. I wish they'd gone with the original ending. Yeah. She does not come back to life. Samo said thoughts on The Wild Robot. If y'all seen it yet, I saw it recently and it's probably the best animated film that I've seen this year. I'm going to do a reaction to it. I've never seen it. It's out on digital. I'm going to react to it and put up a reaction next week. Jeff, have you seen this Wild Robot? Would you?
No, animation's for kids.
No, boy.
Just kidding, everybody. I'm just trolling you guys. I'm just trolling you. I've heard it's excellent. I have not.
He's not really the Joker. All right. Philly 19057 says, watching the show from Florida as we recover from another hurricane. Oh, man. I think I can speak for Jeff. Both of our thoughts sent out to everybody in Florida, North Carolina. Everybody's been suffering through these terrible occurrences here. He says, I know Jeff is not a fan of Radio Silence, but I do like their VHS series. The newest one, VHS Beyond, was a solid movie. Yeah, Jeff, did you see that one, VHS Beyond?
Is it their series? I guess they may still be producers on it. I did see the most recent one, VHS Beyond, and it was good. There's some really cool segments. There's like a skydiving one that I thought was really neat.
Yeah, interesting. By the way, a story we've been kind of hitting on and talking about every once in a while. Lionsgate is saying that the rap story is inaccurate, that Chad Stahelski reshot Ballerina. They're saying, quote, he was only there to help in the creation of action design on the new scenes that would enhance the film and create bigger action sequences. Jeff, is that studio speak for bullshit that he did actually reshoot it?
I mean, yes, like what? Dude, I was kind of surprised to see that. I guess Lionsgate has to stand by its filmmaker, but if that was the case, then yeah, they didn't need to bring in Chad in the first place. Chad definitely came in and whether he personally directed the reshoots or oversaw the action design of them, like, you know, I think Chad definitely has his creative fingerprints on this movie. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Ian McShane said, we're going to Budapest. It's not reshoots, it's new shoots. Obviously, they've got to protect the franchise. We shot the movie a year ago. Chad came in and they want to make it better because you have to protect the franchise.
They added 2 new characters, right? Who weren't in it originally. So I think that's part of the new shoots, right? It's not, hey, I'm reshooting what Len did. It's, hey, we're adding some new scenes and I'm going to be guiding those scenes, whether Len's the one who calls action or not.
Lionsgate is only saying that Chad Stahelski stepped in for Weissman after he, quote, suffered a non-serious health issue and was briefly hospitalized. They say he only, quote, covered Weissman's scenes during that time. And when he fully recovered, he was back on set and finished the film with Stahelski. Dude, come on. There's way too much smoke here to not be a fucking fire, for God's sake.
Again, it's just like, who cares, right? Who cares whether Steven Spielberg or Tobe Hooper directed Poltergeist? Like, Poltergeist is Poltergeist,
right?
I don't need to know who was on set calling direct, action and cut.
As long as it's a good movie. Wayne Edwards says, "Hello, gents. I'm late to the show, but I wanted to show some support. Keep on rocking in the free world." Nice,
woo,
nice Neil Young reference. Steph D'Agostini, aka Marvel Man, says, "Evening, gentlemen. Any truth to Cavill joining the MCU? Henry Cavill, Jeff. Henry Cavill. Any is
Voltron in the MCU all of a sudden? I have no idea. I mean, listen. I think that just as it's tough right now throughout the industry for whether it's journalists or whoever, it's probably tough for movie stars too, right? There's a contraction. There's fewer big movies being made, fewer big paychecks to go around.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how you wind up with Henry Cavill saying yes to something like Voltron. So,
yeah,
I mean, listen, he's got the bod, he's got the type, he's got the fans. It makes sense that Marvel would come after him.
Sure. Kick the tires on it.
I just don't know whether he's actually has or not. I don't know if you're seeing that somewhere.
It would be malpractice for them not to. So you have to, so for God's sakes.
You would
Mac
think.
Says, can I buy scoops from Jeff? Jeff, can he buy scoops from me? Jeff?
Yeah, and in the newsletter, Max. They're all right there, baby. What do you want? Individual scoops that are just for you?
This is what happens.
Customized scoops?
See, this is what happens. This is why I try not to meet too many people. Because he met you when where was it, a TIFF or whatever, and now he's like, I've got a personal connection with Jeff Sneider. It's like, no, that's just, subscribe to the newsletter, my guy. That's how you do it, for God's sakes.
Love you, Max.
Yeah, exactly. But from a distance. Mike Maver says, can Todd Phillips now bring back raunchy comedies now that Joker 2 bombed? What do you think there, Jeff?
I hope so. Yeah, I would love to see. I would personally watch another Hangover movie. I'd watch any other R-rated comedy that he did. I'd love to see Vince and Owen together again. I know he didn't do Wedding Crashers, but I hope he does have the juice to bring those back, whether it's Warner Brothers or elsewhere.
I mean, Jennifer Lawrence just did a kind of a slightly raunchy comedy, so call her up. She seems like she's game. So, all right, there you go. That's the show for today. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it. I want to address one quick thing. Comic Things keeps asking me, John, are you going to cover the Disney lawsuit going to trial versus Gina? I guess if it becomes a big thing, I'll cover it, but I could give a shit. It's such a useless fucking lawsuit filed by a useless billionaire, for God's sake. So no. But if it actually goes to trial and they actually kind of broadcast the trial, yes, I will absolutely cover it because that's good views. But thank you all so much.
Could Todd Phillips should he do Porky's, John?
Porky's. Oh, a Porky's remake? I don't think you can do that nowadays, Jeff. I don't think you can. You can do it in reverse, where it's women looking through a peephole at dudes' junk. I suppose you could do it that way, but I think it'd be really hard sell nowadays to do it that. Because that was so blatantly the male gaze thing. You'd have to be more inventive with a raunchy comedy, I feel like.
Yeah, you're probably right. Also, a little news break. Sandra, according to Deadline, Sandra Bernhard has joined Timothy Chalamet in Marty Supreme.
Oh.
The Safdie movie. Love that.
Great choice.
Interesting. Yeah. R.I.P. Liam Payne.
Liam Payne, though, for sure. Yeah. What a shame.
My God.
People, I'm not going to tell you not to do drugs, not to drink. Feel free to do so. But please, for the love of God, don't get into a situation like this where you take your life and leave a young child behind. Such a shame. And certainly get help where you can get help if you're suffering through pain, mental illness, or an addiction issue. Please get help when you can, because this is a terrible way for him to go at such a young age too, Jeff, especially someone as talented as Liam Payne. Just heartbreaking.
Tragedy. Yes, indeed.
All right, thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate you all madly. Jeff, where can they find you and subscribe to your newsletter, brother?
TheInsnider.com. Still going strong, folks. Still going strong. Thanks for subscribing. I appreciate it.
It's a little Trumpian. It's still going strong. Still bringing us scoops. Still the greatest newsletter out there. Subscribe. Thank you all so much. You can subscribe down to the channel down there. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell button. Leave your comments as well. And you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and Instagram. New episode of Spill the Tequila tomorrow, and we will have a Geek Buddies episode over the weekend for you all to watch and listen to as well. Take care. Until then, for my partner, Jeff Sneider, I am the Outlaw John Rocha. Peace. We'll see you next week.